Hey folks, Salty Seaman here. Unfortunately, with not exciting news, pretty bad. If you follow my channel at all, obviously one of my major loves in life is hard rock, heavy metal. You'd see the t-shirts, my occasional podcast, Clash of the Manatee. It goes without saying, today's a big hit in the world of hard rock, heavy metal. One of the greats, one of the all-time greats of not just hard rock, heavy metal, one of the greatest drummers of all time, passed today. Neil Peart, drummer for Rush, came in on the second album, was forever the new guy, despite, becoming one of the band's major focuses over the years. Because of his absolute talent. It was a rare talent. Transcends genre, I think. You look at, what he played, how he played, just the accolades he got from just everyone, in music, from jazz to R&B to country. Of course, rock and roll, even hip hop. He's been sampled, in hip hop and genres like that, multiple times because he's just he was a special guy. You look at his drum kit and it's like one of the most ridiculous things. Closest one I can get in that genre would probably be Mike Portnoy from Dream Theater, and he would be the first to tell you he ain't in Neil's league, and that's saying a lot. And it's something kind of mulling over, kind of hit today, and I had go work tonight, and my mind was kind of occupied by other things, and it just keeps coming back to this. And I even I kind of try to dismiss it out of my head a lot of ways, like a music fan page I was on, like there was like 1,000 breaking news stories about it. I made a little comment and everyone just fucking shat on me, and in the end they probably weren't wrong for it. It was the wrong time to be cheeky, and I eventually deleted it because I got tired of getting notifications about what a tool I am. And and in the end, it's not right. And I think it's something if nothing else, I can just give a little background, where I am with Rush, how I discovered them and stuff like that. And it's not super complicated. I grew up between Georgia and Arkansas, and when I lived in Arkansas, was when I was really getting into the hard rock metal stuff. I listened at night. I'm a white noise guy at night. Preferably, I like something on to distract me. When I'm falling asleep. Local rock station played classic rock along with modern. At the time, that station is no longer there. That's probably the first time I heard Rush. Probably something like Tom Sawyer, or anything from Moving Pictures, or any of those classics. And at the time, Counterparts was the new album. That's probably where I really, really, understood, okay, here's this name I've heard so many times, this band Rush, and I knew they were important. But I just, and I heard, Stick It Out on Headbangers Ball, whenever that was released, 93, 94. And I really, really liked the song. I ended up getting the album. And of course, I was way behind on what Rush was, and would eventually go get stuff like Fly By Night, Moving Pictures, and whatnot. 2012, of course, which I now own on. I own the 5.1 CD DVD set, and Neil was about the drummer being a backbone of the band, and a band full of three very, very talented musicians. The lead, Geddy Lee playing bass and singing and playing keyboard with his feet. Leaf on the guitar. I mean, these are super talented dudes. In the vein of progressive rock, something also I was, Dream Theater, Yes, Symphony X, among many, many other bands, early Genesis. But that was always the band. Everyone had a thing about. And it was just one of those things. Like I recognized Neil's talents back then, of course. But I just didn't understand music as well as I would grow to, and really appreciate what he did, what his style was, and what he contributed to changing hard rock, changing not just progressive, not just just his super technical skills, but how well he implemented them, how he arranged songs, how he did all these things, and a lot of focus is on just his technical expertise, which is next to, there's like almost no one to compare to. Buddy Rich, but the Buddy Riches of the world and stuff like that. He's in that genre, or in that very thin air where there's only a few people who can tell the difference between them and other people. And I don't even think I understand how good he was. I'm not a musician. I'm just an appreciator of good music. And and I go back and listen to 2012. And, he's not just the foundation and the backbeat of that album, which I find one of the better ones out there in terms of a full story length record. But just in terms of, just everything he added, I think, I don't think will ever be appreciated. They're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We see just today, just the outpouring of grief. I have a lot of friends that are Canadian, and they were, a Canadian band, one they're very, very proud of, and, just kind of, I don't know if I've met a Canadian, other than maybe one or two who weren't giant Rush fans, their politics aside, especially Neil's, he was a Ayn Rand kind of guy, libertarian, not my cup of tea politically, but, I did enjoy a lot of the lyrics he wrote, but more importantly, I like their song structure. I like how they design music. And, I just found him such an important part of, not just that band, not just of rock, but just in terms of music in general. I don't know if we're ever going to be able to say, maybe it'll be a few years down the road where we'll be able to look back and say, how important this guy was to the genre of rock and roll and to the art of drumming in general. So I'll just leave it there as Neil, we'll miss you. You were respected. You were important. You affected a lot of people's lives, and we're going to miss you, pal. We're going to miss you behind that drum kit. I know, the last few years, your life weren't the greatest. Even before the brain cancer, you had a lot of issues. There's a great documentary about him, came out, I think 5 or 6 years ago. I watched that, really focused on him and, and what he went through. And, when you see musicians at that level, there's always more to the story. They're never just happy-go-lucky guys. There's always some kind of pain that drives them. And, Neil, we're going to miss you, buddy. That's all the Salty Seaman's got to say. Peace.